This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.
Now, I want to ask you one thing, that you also came up to the quarterfinals in International Series of Karting. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And you are also college karting team champion, and also traffic commando. That is the state traffic police cell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then you are practicing Vipassana meditation. What are the different types of meditation that you have?
Sir, the ones I know is mindfulness meditation, Vipassana meditation. There is Chinese form of Zen meditation, and one is yogic meditation or Vedic meditation.
What is meditation?
Sir, meditation is establishing a consciousness of one's own self, so that we could analyze ourselves a bit more.
Is that the purpose of meditation, or is it something else? What is the purpose of meditation?
Sir, according to me, the purpose of meditation, initially it was to improve my focus and concentration. But once I got into meditation, I realized that the larger goal is to cut the habit pattern of our mind of love and aversion, and we need to harness the connection between the mind and body, so that we could generate more positive feelings.
Supposing I were to say, most of the people say meditation means the absence of any thoughts, eliminating the thoughts from your mind and making the mind blank is the real meditation. Because unless mind is blank, you don't register anything. So, otherwise so many things, isn't it? Is that also meditation, or is there anything different than this?
Sir, it is truly a step in the process of we need to make our mind blank. But I think that is only a step to find the true consciousness.
What is Vipassana?
Vipassana is true self, sir, true knowledge.
That is the meaning of Vipassana.
Yes, sir, true knowledge. As far as I know, it is true knowledge.
Okay, anyway, you check up on that thing.
Sure.
Since you have mentioned this, I am asking you a little more in detail.
Yes, sir.
Because, see, they try to put you at ease by asking you questions which they think you are very familiar with. You understand?
Yes, sir.
That is why I have asked this question. Now, let me know, have you appeared for any other examinations?
No, sir.
This is the first time you are appearing?
This is the third attempt, sir.
Third attempt.
And second interview.
Did you appear for an interview earlier?
Yes, sir, last year.
Last year. What was your experience in the interview? Where do you think you have missed out, or where do you think you have done well?
Sir, it was an instant. I went through a mental blank at that particular point of time. So I could not be myself, and there was no presence of mind that I could answer the questions which I even knew. So I think that was the problem.
No, but when you said you couldn't answer, is it because you are not able to concentrate on the question, or you are not able to concentrate on the answer to the question? What was the problem?
I was not able to think at that particular moment.
So that means you would have normally thought about the reply and then only reply. Is that the way you looked at it?
I could just access the memory of my mind, not the thinking part of
So there are two things normally. One is memory part of it and the thinking part. Memory is only a question of recall, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Thinking part is something where you have to put in an effort.
Yes, sir.
Now, where do you think you have gone wrong? Because you are very hazy about what you told me. So I want to know whether it is actually inability to recall, or whether it was your inability to think clearly.
It was the inability to think clearly in pressure. Sir. 74. Yes, sir. Sir, there are two reasons. One is the 74% wrong. 91%.
between intermediate and BTech, do you think there was a
So the kind of marking itself was low in BTech.
the system of marking responsible? You are happy with this?
I'm not exactly totally happy with 74%. I expected an 80% to be there by the end of the fourth year.
What would be the reason for this gap between the reality and expectation? You expected 80%, you said 70%. What would that be?
Sir, it was my choice of participating in various events.
Maybe extracurricular activities or taking a little more
Extra effort.
time.
Yes, sir.
Focus.
Yes.
Maybe you're studying games and other things and all that.
Yes, sir.
Which subject, mathematics, physics, chemistry, environment, which subject you are most comfortable with?
Sir, I believe mechanical engineering.
Mechanics.
Yes, sir.
Most comfortable.
Yes.
You have done. You ask me a very few basic questions. Define stress as a mechanical.
Sir, stress is
Something called stress.
yes, sir.
Define.
Stress is the resistance provided by a body to a force applied. It can also be defined as force per unit area.
Force per unit
Area.
per unit.
Yes.
Define strain.
Sir, strain is the impact that particular body is facing due to the force applied, be it the breakage or the fracture of the particular body.
So we define this. There is a thing called Young's modulus of elasticity. Define what?
Sir, Young's modulus comes from the Hooke's law, which states that stress is directly proportional to strain. So,
What is the value of the Young's modulus? Can I say y is equal to stress upon strain? Can I say that?
it has an exact value which I couldn't remember now.
The value of Young's modulus, I'm just suggesting to you, is it equal to stress upon strain?
Yes, sir. It is equal to stress upon strain.
It's equal.
Yes, sir.
So when I say define y, you see that y is equal to stress upon strain. What are you asking for that?
Yes, sir. I was still thinking of the exact value. Yes, sir.
You said mechanical engineering, so that's why. There is something called concept of entropy in mechanical engineering. Are you reading about the concept called entropy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a concept called energy also. Any concept, either energy or entropy, whichever you feel more comfortable with. There is something what you understand by energy or entropy, any one of them, whichever you are more comfortable.
Sir, energy is the basic unit of work.
What is it?
Sir, energy in mechanical engineering terms, it is the basic unit of.
It's a unit.
Yes, sir.
I'm pushing this wall. Wall remains standing. So, can you say that I'm not working? I'm applying force. Displacement is zero.
Yes, sir.
How do you
Sir,
express in mechanical engineering?
sir, the force applied is not more than. Yes, sir. It is not more than the force required to move that particular wall.
Push it maximum.
Yes, sir, but the force required for that particular.
Some force X. Displacement is zero. How do you express in mechanical engineering terms? Mechanical engineering says that the language. How do you express it?
Sir, by drawing a free body diagram. By drawing a free body diagram.
I apply a force on this book, the book moves. Yes, sir. I apply a force on the wall, it doesn't move. What is the difference in the two situations?
Sir, the force,
in this case, what is different than that?
the force applied could able to overcome the friction here in this case, but in that case, the force applied could not able to overcome the frictional force.
Movement, what do you call it?
Inertia.
That's okay. That's inertia of the wall. In terms of the work done, I apply force, it moves. Work is done. I apply force, it doesn't move. So you think some work is done, work is not done for the wall. That's not moving.
Work is done, but there is no displacement.
Work is done without movement. F is something. Distance is zero. What is the work done?
On the wall, work is not done.
Work done is equal to the application of force and the consequent movement. F is zero, no work is done. The F is finite one. The distance is zero.
Yes, sir. I will look into that. Yes, sir.
Define state.
State.
Define. As a controller. Define state.
Yes, sir. The state is
What are the essential ingredients of state?
Sir, government, people, and various other bodies.
What are the ingredients?
Sir, the ingredients of state are the geographical area, the territory. Yes, sir.
Second,
people, population, sovereignty, government. I could think of three.
Resources, territory, population, resources, sovereignty. Nation. Is it the same as the state?
Sir, not necessarily.
No, good. Where the nation has got a triple element, ingredient, other things. There is a nation. There is
Sir, define territory and sovereignty as the two.
Where the nation, what is the ingredient? What are those ingredients? There's a nation that's
Common history and identity.
I'll ask you only one question in the realm of international relations. If you can answer it, I'll pass it on. If you can't answer, one more question.
Yes.
There are two words or concepts. One is revanchism, R-E-V-A-N-C-H-I-S-M. The other is irredentism, I-R-R-E-N. Irredentism, I-R-R-E-D-I-T-I-S. in international relations, it does occur. And if you could tell me what these two concepts are, if possible, to example.
Sir, I've not come across this concept.
Okay, you've heard of the dispute between India and China. We do not have a settled border. The border is yet to be settled because of some claim by China over Indian territory. What are those areas? The entire 4,000 kilometers of border. It's not. Nobody knows the length of Indo-China border. So they keep shifting the LAC, which is an imaginary line. And there are no clear-cut, accepted ground reality as to this is where India ends and this is where China begins. It's totally uncertain. So about 4,000 kilometers. Is every square inch of that disputed, or are there only some areas which are disputed, as claimed by China?
Sir, currently in the when it comes to the eastern sector, the total of Arunachal Pradesh state is claimed by China. And going by the five fingers theory and various other theories which China comes up regularly, there are no proper acceptance by China that which is Indian territory and which is Chinese territory.
What is their demand? They already have 20,000 square kilometers in depth since 1962. What else do they want?
Sir, the strategic areas near the Pangong Lake, which currently are under dispute.
What to pretend to ask? Anyway, they want the entire Ladakh on account of they having lost it in 1842 to the chap called Maharaja Gulab Singh. Earlier, there was a fellow called Zorawar. He is the one who occupied on behalf of Maharaja Ranjit Singh some area, till then it was part of the West. So they want to take it back. That is the reason. Irridentum is you have heard of Nagorno-Karabakh?
Yes, sir.
It's a dispute area between Armenia and Azerbaijan. What is the claim of Armenia over the Nagorno-Karabakh? Same time, I'll tell you, Nagorno-Karabakh has people who practice a brand of Christianity which is the Armenian brand of Orthodox Church. Though they are a part of Azerbaijan, they are not Muslims. They speak a language which is exactly the same as the Armenian language. So they say it ought to belong to us. And that is called irredentism. If India made a claim about Jaffna Peninsula, northern part of Sri Lanka where there are Tamilians, we don't make that claim. But if we make, that is also irredentism.
Thank you.
So, Rahul,
Yes, sir.
name is meeting of China. There are two people. One is writing very well in that. Similarly, one is another one is doing a lot of marks on it. So, what do you think the government should have? The opposing parties are very patient.
Sir, I think the whole Pegasus issue, when it comes to that particular issue, intelligence gathering in India has no parliamentary oversight or any kind of oversight per se. So I think there has to be a certain kind of oversight over intelligence gathering. Be it in this particular issue, I think the judicial investigation would be the better option.
So you want a monitoring system upon those who are monitoring, right?
Yes, sir.
Rahul, what is the good to all?
I'm not able to remember.
some insight on new education policy?
Sir, it has given few suggestions regarding the whole curriculum change. The pattern has shifted from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And also it has given rise to various school complexes. And it also suggested to increase the funding as a percentage of GDP on education sector to be increased. The NEP also suggested that we have to focus more on research, and it has divided the teaching and research universities. These are the points.
So you think if NEP, people like to build the different participate in extracurricular activities and sacrifice the grades or marks. Will them solve?
Yes, sir, because there was no customizable curriculum which I have seen in my BTech, sir. Because I was interested in the more practical components. We used to create a club, we used to participate in Supra events, go-kart events, and all those things. So there is no customizable curriculum available. So NEP would.
That is for extracurricular activities. What about academics? What about engineering? In the apprentice program,
apprentice is not that prominent. Not that I'm aware of.
Good.
Only thing to see, normally much time they will take. But from what you have seen, the diction is good, you are able to honestly say out whatever you are, but then we will recommend that you actually brush up.
Yes, sir.
Something on that is very important. And since you are wanting to actually join the foreign service and diplomatic listing, you need to be aware of actually certain things. World over, a lot of problems are there. Most of these problems are all related in one way or the other to climate change also, where everyone has to cooperate. Everyone says they will cooperate, but they are not cooperating. Second, starting from there, what is the position of India as far as the international treaties are concerned?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
That
Yes,
is one. Two, United Nations to what extent has it been successful or not successful? The next thing that will be very important to you, they will ask you India's main problems in the international community of nations and how should we go about it. The other thing will come recently, Afghanistan is something also. There they will actually say the withdrawal of both Russia as well as this one is the problem. Then as they have also asked you, everywhere this question will come, why is there so much strife and trouble in so many countries? Are they all revolving around the question of actually nationhood, or is it religious? See, now in the case of Afghanistan, it is religion that is playing a big part.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? And religion is playing a big part in the war between Iran as well as actually Saudi Arabia, I think Shia versus Sunni. So these are certain things which are there. So you will have to also look at the new education policies governing tribals in India. And then since you are an engineer, you should be also prepared to ask any questions that they may ask you regarding innovation. They say nowadays new startups are coming, etc. Do you think the arrangements made for assisting, guiding, mentoring, coaching is appropriate and adequate or not adequate? These are certain things that they would definitely. And second, you must read newspapers. Are you reading newspapers?
Yes, sir.
Which paper do you read?
Business Standard and The Hindu, sir.
Business Standard and?
The Hindu.
Okay. Are you reading, say, Times of India or the Hindu or some papers like that?
The Hindu I'm reading.
You are reading, huh?
Yes, sir.
If you are reading Hindu, that is fine. Business Standard is also okay. But what I would recommend is that you should be also aware of current affairs in the round, particularly.
Yes, sir.
They may ask you something on the 3 farm laws that are actually listing, the ruckus in the parliament, things like that you might ask. And now that India will be chairing the UN Security Council for 1 year, what do you think will be the immediate thing that India should do? Is something like that. These are generally what we think for students who want to actually appear for the IPS. These are the things that they would normally ask actually. So you, while your preparations go on, you prepare a little more.
Yes, sir, definitely.
And if you want to ask us any questions as to about your doubts, anything that you have got, you can ask us.
Sir, I had few doubts about the opinionated questions regarding bifurcation. It must have been done or not. So should we do more smaller states? Should we divide more smaller states? So those type of questions.
See, my suggestion is don't get worried about too many questions. See, what we should do, we have told you what would be the range of questions that can be anticipated. You prepare yourself for that type of thing. You've been very honest in saying if you know, you say I'm answering, otherwise you are not. That's a correct system. Only thing what is important for you is not to be stressed at the time of the interview.
Yes, sir.
Be calm, collected, because you have told us that at that time my mind went blank. That should not happen actually.
Yes,
So that is why if you do not follow, for example, evangelism, you could have easily said, sir, pardon me, can you please say clearly? That would have helped them. You could have helped them also to actually focus.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So this is the general thing we have observed, but otherwise personality-wise, you are pleasing, your destiny is good, all that is very fine. Only thing is, you see, when it comes to the subject, particularly when it is something related to this one, they would expect you
No more.
this is the only thing that we feel. Otherwise, you see, when is your actual interview?
September 7th.
September.
Yes.
So you still have some time.
Yes.
So you please go through whatever our suggestions are. And I would also recommend that some of these important things, the main points you note down. 3, 4, 5 points.
Yes, sir.
You note down so that you don't find the difficulty if something related to those questions are asked, you are able to reply confidently and clearly. This is the only thing. Otherwise, overall, you seem to be a good candidate for selection. But since IPS is a little tougher.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Lower rank. IAS is 75 and above.
No, I understand.
350
No, but actually what happens is, they look more at actually the world.
Yes.
The world history, world listing, etc.
Yes.
You see, and then they would very much like how pleasantly you put across and how diplomatically you do it without harming anyone's interest and feelings. That is what they will be looking for.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
This is the only thing that we can suggest. Beyond that,
Were you under stress for last half an hour?
No.
Yes. No?
No, sir.
But you're feeling comfortable?
Not totally, but I'm.
No, this is I felt I want to say that. But don't think that. See, you're done Vipassana. You should be stress free.
Yes, sir.
And this is a home run. You're only preparing, we like coaches. No, Delhi will not be coaching. Delhi will be final examination.
Yes, sir.
Different ways, you go there, stay with somebody, you're not at home. Give a thought to this thing. From what all your potential is much more.
Yes, sir.
But your actual realization, I find, is a gap. Why that gap is there? Because of, as the chair said, that you can jot down. See, for a mechanical engineering, stress, strain, young models,
ordinary definitions.
They are definitions. What is state? What is nation? You should just be able to say in 2 or 3 sentences and get lost. That's it. Be done with that.
Yes,
They are very short answer questions.
See, basically, what we are noticing is, you see, what we are noticing basically is one important point. That actually, you are actually imagining what questions will come. In an interview, don't do that. In an interview, await the question and then you understand. We would notice that is the biggest problem you have faced. Whereas, all requests and answers also got the basis silence is looking for people.
Yes, sir.
So the mind must be silent.
And face should be a little more comfort, cheerful and all that. I mean, smile a bit, relax, and there's no need to carry tension. You know, the stress and strain at the time of interview will certainly make you blank. You know it, but it's not coming out.
Yes, sir.
So that should never happen. Even today, I got a feeling that you know it, but if you are asked to give in details, you will explain. You don't want explanation.
No, you simply what we think about. You don't think about what you know. You say that.
We think about the potential. All we want is that on that day and that moment, it should be in IAS. That's all we are saying.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
So just give a thought to that idea. Be natural, normal, playful. Don't read anything except the newspaper in the morning. Think of good things and all that. You know, keep some person who has been good to you, good friend, mother, father, brother, sister, anybody. So let good omens be around you on that day.
Definitely.
That normalize.
Reach Delhi preferably
one day
before so that you feel comfortable also.
Yes, sir.
And then dress is fine. I mean, that's okay. I'm not sure about the dress and all that. But the potential of Rahul, Reddy be realized in full.
Yes, sir.
That will push you through. I mean, we are sure. At least I'm confident.
Definitely. Yes, sir.
Wish you all the best.
All the very best.
Thank you very much.
This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.